Hello everybody, this is Fred VK with the Blue Ridge Bible Talks. But today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to show you a version of the Doxology. But first, we need to get a little close-up of the guitar. I'll play through it once slowly, and then we'll break it down. Okay, we're in standard tuning. The chords you're going to need are a D, that's for the open D string, second fret of the G string, index finger, third fret of the B string, ring finger, and the second fret of the high E string, middle finger. Then the A chord, open A string, and then the D string, G string, B string. All of them second fret. You could do it this way, just barring the whole thing, but you really want that note, the open E. And then a G chord. Now the way I do a G in this particular song is I have the high E third fret with my pinky, the B string third fret with my ring finger, and then my middle finger is reaching over and grabbing the third fret of the low E string. And I'm muting out the A string. Now you could do it by putting your index finger on the second fret of the A string. You could do a normal G chord. It doesn't really matter. But I do this particular one because I'm coming out of the D chord, and so that finger stays right there. I drop my pinky, this one comes all the way over, and it's just easy. It's a cheat. All guitarists cheat. Next, we need the kind of a enhanced D chord. So instead of this normal D, we want to pull in the fifth fret of the high E. It's kind of hard for me to hit, trying to keep my D chord in shape, so I switch my fingering around. The index finger stays where it is. Now my middle finger comes over and grabs the third fret of the B string, which frees up my pinky to come all the way up here to the fifth fret of the low E. And do notice my thumb has slipped behind the guitar so that I have plenty of room here to grab it, as opposed to trying to do it like this with my thumb up there. It's possible, but it's clunky. You will, by the way, for the rest of the time, often when I'm playing a D chord, my thumb comes over and mutes that high E. It's just something I do. You don't have to. Now the melody of this song is on these three strings, three high strings. I'll just go through it kind of quickly here, just so you can hear that it's right here underneath where the chords will be. So I'm starting on the third fret of the B string. Sorry. Now you can play that, you can practice it, but it's just kind of boring. You want to bring the chords in. Now what we'll do first, before we do a full-on finger picking, is just get a feel for the melody underneath the chords. So get your D chord in place and just hit these 3 strings, your D string, G string, and your B string. And you can hit the B note a couple times, A chord. And now with the A chord in place, you lift up your ring finger to have the open B. And then just from this B, just go down to your G, holding this chord in place. Notice how my thumb has switched from the bass on the D to the bass on the A chord. And now you just come back to the D chord, starting on the B string, to the open E, and then just finish the chord. See how I'm following the melody, but now I'm just hitting some more of the chords. And you keep going on the song. Now we're starting off on the high E string, 3 times, open. See all those notes, I'm still in the D chord. I'm just manipulating which fingers I'm on, which string I'm hitting. Open E, B string. Now my G chord. You see how it's just so easy when I'm doing this? My middle finger just automatically stretches over in anticipation. And now your easiest chord, just drop that middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E and hit your open B string. You're going to hit it twice. You don't have to hit both twice. You can just hit the the low E and the B string, and then another time just the B. A, D. Once again. Now we want our fancy D5 chord. And this one I'm hitting the open D, pretty much the B and the E, that's all I'm really hitting. I might brush the G a little bit, doesn't matter. You can even bring in the open A for a little bit of fullness if you want. Depends upon what you want. Now we want to go to our fancy little D chord, or stretch up to the 5th fret of the high E, but I'm switching my fingering like I said before, and then back down to the D chord. And now you hit your B, which is already fretted. Open E string, still hold your D chord. Then your G. D chord, A chord, D. Now, you really should pause the video for a second and just try to get that under your fingers. Do it a few times, because now we want to step it up and bring in a few more notes. Now we want to add the element of finger picking. Technically speaking, your thumb should handle the bass strings, the D, and then the A, and the low E. But of course, we're making a G note at that point. Then your index finger handles the G, your middle finger handles the B, and your ring finger handles the high E. And I have my pinky down just as an anchor. How can you see it? There you go. So what I'm doing, I'm following the melody, and notice how I hit that G. I put a little more emphasis than normal just so you can hear it. Just toggling between the melody and that G string. That G string is going to be pretty useful. A chord. Now you need a little pause there because the G string is the note you want. So you don't want to get it lost in kind of fumbling around, okay? Back to the D. Now I put a little filler in here, which is the D and the G and the B strings holding my D chord. Now back to my melody. G chord, A chord, G, D, A. Back to the D. Now our easy G chord, just the low E, 3rd fret, and the open B. And what I do, I think normally, is I'll just hit that both strings once and then hit the B twice. D chord, I'm sorry, A chord, D chord. Again. Now we go to our fancy D, where if you have big enough hands you can stretch. Mine aren't. So I just change my fingering. I keep my index finger there. My middle finger goes on the 3rd fret of the B string. My index comes all the way up to the E string, 5th fret. Then back down to a normal D. I'm hitting the E, B string. Messed up there. And then you walk back up with a D chord to the G. There are a couple times in this song you'll notice you're just hitting the chord and you're just hitting a bunch of strings. There is no time to do any kind of fiddling around. One. Now that's basically it. Need a little practice, of course. But there are a couple little fun little things you can do with it. Like, for instance, you can add the Amen. Now, you've ended on a D chord. We're going to do something called a C9. And that's where your index finger comes over on the 2nd fret of the D string. Your middle finger comes on the 3rd fret of the A string. A regular C chord, you've got those notes in place. And you have the 1st fret of the B. But now we're putting that note on the 3rd fret. So you're coming out of the D. All you're doing is moving these 2 fingers, your D, your B string rather, your 3rd fret there with your ring finger stays right there. G. Sound like this. You want to get fancy, you can go in end on the D5. Another thing you can do is add a harmonic at a certain point. Now, harmonics are when you have your finger very lightly on a string right over the fret and just lightly hit it. And as you hit it, you lift your finger off at the same time. You've heard that one before, right? Roundabout, etc. Anyway, and I like to hit, sorry, that's why you put your fingers there. I like to get all three of them, or at least these two. Sorry. I put it in towards the end. There are endless things you can do with this song and this type of style, endless songs you can do. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please let me know if you did. I'd like to see some comments. If you'd like to see some other simple songs like this, we can do that too. But for now, I'd say God bless you, and we'll see you next time.